Welcome to This Explainer. Look, this isn't your typical overly enthusiastic rah-rah career advice. We're diving straight into a massive reality check today. Right now, there is this huge boom in the creator economy, unprecedented resignation trends. Literally millions of people are just leaving the workforce in search of something better. So what we're going to do is expose the absolute reality behind the internet dream of entrepreneurship. We're getting right into the math, the tension, and the very real choices you face before making that leap. Let's get into it.
Every day online, someone is telling you to quit your job. Seriously, just think about that for a second. Let that absolute ubiquity sink in. Everywhere you look, you're being told to start a business. Escape the system. Be your own boss. It's this constant, overwhelming drumbeat. You scroll through TikTok and boom, relentless hustle culture videos. You open LinkedIn and you've got influencers posting about their 4-hour work weeks from a beach in Bali. The messaging is literally everywhere, and let's be honest, it is incredibly persuasive.
But here's the catch. Almost nobody shows you the actual math behind those glossy posts. Because the truth is, most people quit emotionally, not mathematically. And that right there is the absolute core of what we're talking about today. People make this massive life leap based purely on feeling frustrated or, temporarily inspired. And what usually happens is that severe workplace burnout basically masquerades as an entrepreneurial calling. This totally blinds people to the financial risks and the profound opportunity cost of leaving a stable paycheck behind. Quitting too early, it literally becomes the single most expensive decision of their entire lives.
Section 1. The Internet Freedom Dream.
Okay, so before we can break down the math, we really have to understand the emotion. We have to look at why the dream of escaping the corporate system is just so universally appealing. And honestly, the dream makes a whole lot of sense. Nobody wants a boss forever. Nobody truly dreams about sitting through an endless mountain of emails, or fighting to stay awake in pointless meetings, or dreading that early alarm clock every single morning. I mean, think about the sunk cost of commuting alone, the hours lost in traffic that you are literally never getting back. Then add to that the heavy psychological weight of constant micromanagement, and that deep, deep frustration of having to ask another grown adult for permission just to take a single Tuesday off. If you're feeling this right now, your frustration is absolutely valid.
And because of all those daily pain points, the internet sweeps in and sells us a completely different life. The promise is insanely seductive, right? Ultimate freedom, unlimited income, working entirely for yourself. The internet has essentially commodified the escape fantasy. It perfectly packages up your daily exhaustion and sells you a highly marketed solution that preys directly on the exact frustrations we just talked about. But we really have to stop and ask ourselves, is this marketed lifestyle an actual, accurate representation of running a business? Or is it just an incredibly well-designed sales pitch?
Section 2, the math nobody calculates. Let's shift gears away from the exciting dream and step into the pretty uncomfortable, grounded reality of what actually happens when you take that leap. Now, before quitting, most people will map out their best-case scenarios for potential business income, but they completely forget to calculate the instability. Think about it. A salary arrives predictably every single month. A business absolutely does not. We're talking about predictable cash flow versus highly variable revenue. A salary guarantees a baseline. A business, especially a new one, it requires you to generate that baseline from absolute scratch every 30 days. The line for a salary is nice, flat, and stable. The line for a new business is a giant, completely unpredictable roller coaster. And let me tell you, that roller coaster isn't just about revenue. It is about sudden, totally overwhelming responsibilities. You aren't just doing the work you love anymore. Suddenly, you're dealing with complex self-employment taxes that can easily eat 30% of your income right off the top. Boom, gone. You have unexpected overhead costs just to keep the lights on. You're processing refunds, you're managing failed product launches, you're handling angry client problems. All at once, you're wearing the hats of CEO, HR, IT, and customer service. The tension just steadily escalates because that comfortable corporate safety net, it's completely gone.
Which leads us to a really harsh truth. One bad month in a job feels stressful, but one bad month in a business, that can feel catastrophic. Let that sink in. When you rely entirely on a business to feed you and it has a down month, it isn't just a bad day at the office, it's an existential threat to your actual survival. This brings up the concept of your runway, which is exactly how many months you can survive burning cash before you just run out of money. A single bad month or an unexpectedly high burn rate can literally slash a 6-month runway in half overnight. That is the intense mathematical reality people ignore.
Section 3, the brutal 2-year reality.
So there's this really dangerous timeline of entrepreneurship that the online gurus purposely leave out of their pitches. Businesses don't fail instantly, they fail slowly. And that is the incredibly dangerous part. It's this deceptively slow decline that just drains your resources and your mental health over time. This is exactly where the sunk cost fallacy traps so many well-meaning people. Entrepreneurs keep pouring their dwindling savings into a dying business simply because, well, they've already invested so much time and money into it. They completely ignore the mathematical reality that it just isn't working.
Let's actually walk through this timeline step by step, just to map out this agonizing transition. In month 1, it's all positive. You've got excitement, you've got freedom, you feel truly alive. You're riding high on initial enthusiasm and maybe closing a few warm leads from supportive friends or a previous network. But then, by year 1, reality starts arriving monthly. Those warm leads are completely gone, and your customer acquisition costs suddenly spike. Your income becomes highly inconsistent, and by year 2, that initial excitement has completely evaporated. It's replaced by severe burnout, isolation, constant comparison to others, and just crippling financial anxiety because your savings are completely depleted. It's a terrifying shift from absolute freedom to absolute panic.
Section 4. The social media illusion.
So, a natural question is, why don't we hear about this? If this 2-year decline is so common, why does everyone think starting a business is so incredibly easy? Well, it all comes down to a glaring contrast. On social media feeds, successful owners post glamorous updates. They're posting the cars, the laptops on the beach, the massive wins. But the silent reality? Failed owners just disappear quietly. Nobody posts an update saying they drained their life savings and are absolutely terrified. This is a perfect, textbook example of survivorship bias. We're drawing conclusions about success rates entirely from the highly visible winners, while remaining completely blind to this massive, invisible graveyard of silent failures. And the result? You start believing everyone is winning except you. This missing reality takes a really heavy psychological toll. Because you're only seeing the highlight reels of a select few, you feel entirely isolated in your struggle. Imposter syndrome hits incredibly hard right here. You find yourself trapped in this echo chamber, driven by social media algorithms that specifically target aspiring entrepreneurs with endless back-to-back success stories, which just compounds your anxiety. You genuinely truly think you are the only one who couldn't make the math work.
Section 5. The smartest transition strategy.
Okay, I know that was heavy, and I don't want to just leave you with doom and gloom. There is a grounded, entirely rational way to navigate this without destroying your life. The smartest people out there don't jump blindly into the unknown. They build mathematically, not emotionally. Step 1, keep your stable salary. Step 2, use that predictable income to actually fund a growing side hustle. And step 3, transition gradually, but only when you are genuinely, mathematically, financially prepared. This is all about de-risking the leap. Listen, keeping your salary isn't cowardice. It is the ultimate early-stage funding mechanism for your startup while you actually prove product-market fit. A stable income funding a growing business is mathematically so much safer. Now, a business can absolutely 100% change your life, but we really have to recognize that social media has essentially turned entrepreneurship into entertainment. People are out there quitting their jobs because they feel a fleeting moment of inspiration while watching a 60-second video. But let me be perfectly clear, inspiration is not a business plan. Inspiration doesn't build sales funnels, it doesn't calculate your conversion rates, and it definitely doesn't map out your profit margins. For that, you need math, you need a runway, and you need stability. Which brings us to a final, pretty provocative thought. As we wrap up this explainer, I want you to demand some brutal self-reflection from yourself right now. If your income completely disappeared tomorrow, would your dream actually survive? Or deep down, are you still heavily depending on that stability? Are you mathematically ready to be team business? Or are you actually team job right now? Take a really hard look at the math, not just the emotion, before you make your next move.